Hi students, I am Dr. M. Ashraf Majroor, Professor of Community Medicine. I welcome you in the learning session of Sanitation Management. This is fourth lecture of Water and Sanitation series. The highlights of this session are Sustainable Development Goal and Millennium Development Sanitation Gap Analysis, Access to Improved Sanitation, Methods of disposal of human waste, septic tank and water carriage system, sanitation responsibilities and stakeholders, a strategic approach for sanitation management. So we now discuss the highlight one by one. SDG 6 state that there should be universal access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene at the end to the open defecation by the year 2030. So this is the goal, sanitation goal 6. And what are the gaps? The Millennium Development Goal of sanitation was to achieve access to 95% up to 2015. But the Millennium Development Goal evaluation indicate in Pakistan have achieved 72% access to sanitation. That indicates the gap of 23% to achieve the Millennium Development Goal up to 2015. Overall, Pakistan needs 28%. Pakistan have 28% gap to achieve sustainable development targets. It includes 23% leftover from MDG agenda and 5% to achieve additional to have the universal access to sanitation. So these are the gaps to achieve the sustainable development goal, which have to be achieved up to 2030. Now the fact sheet indicates in 2017, 45% of the global population, 3.4 billion people as used as safely managed sanitation services. 31% of the global population, 2.4 billion people, use sanitation facility connected to sewer from which wastewater was treated. 2 billion people still do not have basic sanitation facilities such as toilet or latrines. Of these, 673 million still defecate in open. For example, in street gutters, behind the bushes or into the open bodies of the water. At least 10% of the world population is thought to consume food irrigated by wastewater. So this is the fact sheet at this moment. Now we will discuss the dimension sanitation in various dimensions. That is the accessibility and safe disposal, environmental protection, resources recovery, and disease prevention. These are the scope and dimension to be discussed in this session of sanitation. Now, access to sanitation. Access to sanitation is defined as the sanitation measures by the percentage of the sanitation measured by the percentage of the population using improved sanitation facilities. Now, what are the improved sanitation facilities? The improved sanitation includes the facility that hygienically separate human excreta from the human contact. So this is the definition, and connected this sewerage connected to the water carriage system connected to sewerage system, connected to septic tank, and poor flush latrine, improved ventilated pit latrine, and pit latrine with slab cover. These are the methods of improved sanitation. And in contrast to this improved sanitation, what are the unimproved sanitation? The sanitation facilities do not ensure hygienic separation of human excreta from the contact, and these includes the pit latrine without slab open pit, hanging latrines, bucket latrines, open defecation in the field, forest, bushes, bodies of the water, and other open spaces. So this is the comparison of improved and unimproved sanitation. Let us see what is the situation in Pakistan. In Pakistan, overall 84% of the population have access to improved sanitation methods. This is from the reference of the National Nutritional Survey conducted in 2018. In urban-rural split, the rural area have 78% access to sanitation, improved sanitation, and the urban area 95%, 95.8% access to sanitation. But this accessibility varies among the provinces and the administrative territories in Pakistan. The least access is observed in some areas of the KP, that is 57.9%, and in Balochistan 67%, and in Sindh the accessibility is 71%. In Punjab, the overall accessibility is 92%. And in Gilgit-Baltistan, 79.7%. Overall, in KP, 88.1% accessibility has been assessed. So there is a gap from the universal access, that is equal to 100% access, and all the provinces are lacking behind the targets. Now, the children whose last stool was disposed safely. In Pakistan, 38.5% of the respondent have said that they have disposed the last stool safely. And in urban areas, it was 43%, and in rural areas, it was 35.5%. Overall situation is that 53,000 Pakistani children under 5 years die annually from diarrhea due to poor water and sanitation. So this is the situation. Now, what is the safe disposal of the human excreta? There should be no contamination of ground or surface water. There should be no soil pollution. Excreta should not be accessible to flies or rodents. No spillage and leakage of the human excreta. The excreta should not create any nuisance. So, if these conditions are met, then we can say the human waste was disposed safely. Now, why we need sanitation disposal for human waste? To prevent the soil pollution, to prevent the water pollution, to prevent the contamination of food, to prevent the propagation of flies, and it is unaesthetic. So these are the reasons that necessitate the sanitary disposal of human excreta. It triggers the fecal-oral transmission chain as described in the last session, that ultimately leads to the diarrheal diseases. This causes the human infections, foodborne infections, waterborne infections, finger and fomite induced infections. So these are the dangers of unsanitary disposal of excreta. The problem statement, inadequate sanitation is estimated to cause 4,32,000 diarrheal deaths annually and is a major factor in several neglected tropical diseases that uh, including the intestinal worm infestation, schistosomiasis, trachoma. Poor sanitation also contribute to the malnutrition. So this is the problem statement. Then fecal-oral transmission, whenever there is unsanitary disposal to the excreta, the feces, they can contaminate the water, they can contaminate the fingers, and then they propagate the flies, contaminate the soil. All these things then ultimately they can contaminate the food, and ultimately the new host will be there, and this is the typical fecal-oral transmission route. Where we can put the barriers in this sanitation. The first barrier is sanitation barrier is sanitary disposal of excreta, and then we can say water, fingers, flies, and soil. And then this automatically, if this is not done, then we have to maintain the a second sanitation barrier, which is more difficult, and the third sanitation barrier is very difficult, and it is nearly impossible to protect the new host in third sanitation barrier. So let us see the unsanitary disposal of human excreta causes the soil, water, and food contamination. This is the summary, and causes the propagation of flies. Then, if we put the first sanitation barrier, then it will save the water. Um, um, Sanitary disposal of human through sanitary disposal of human excreta, the first sanitation barrier, it will protect the water, fingers, flies, soil, and food. So there is no need of the other barriers, and the host will be protected. So this is very important. This diagram indicates that this is the key area where we can protect the fecal-oral transmission. So the sanitary disposal of excreta is essential step for fecal-oral to stop the fecal-oral transmission of infections. Then methods of sanitary disposal of human waste, they are classified as a type of latrines, and the non-service type and service type. By definition, the service type, which is also called conservancy system, it needs manual removal of human excreta on the daily basis by the help of the sanitary workers. In non-service type, no services of sanitary are required, and the human excreta is automatically disposed. But these are divided into temporary methods and permanent methods. The in temporary methods mean they are being used in scattered and unsettled populations, and these are the borehole latrines, duck well latrines, trenches, and chemical closets. Chemical closets are specially used in the aircrafts, and as a where the in traveling and other purpose, but the borehole, dug well, and trenches, they are used for temporary unsettled populations. The permanent methods, the septic tank and water carriage system, these methods are used in permanently settled and clustered populations. So this is most unsanitary way of disposal of human excreta. This is not recommended. It causes nuisance. It causes spillage of the human excreta and propagation of flies, and this is totally unsanitary. On the other hand, if the temporary they are not protected, then they are unsanitary. But if they are improved and protected, then they may be included in the improved sanitation methods. These are the methods which are connected flush system, connected with the septic tank and the sewerage system. They are the methods which are considered to be the sanitary methods. So in the survey in Pakistan, a National Nutritional Survey, these were also included in the improved sanitation where they were protected with the slabs. Now the temporary methods are used in scattered and mobile population, temporary camps, troop movements, in internally displaced population IDPs, temporary mass quarantines, flood and calamities, and refugee camps. So these are the condition when the temporary sanitary latrines they can be used for the disposal of human excreta. Now, what are these? The pit latrine or dug well latrines. The pit latrine should be deep as possible, at least 2 meter in depth, covered by slab. This is the condition, they must be covered with the slab, and then the concrete or ceramic squatting plate must be fitted, and suprastructure must be built for the privacy from the material available locally. So this is for the privacy, this is suprastructure, and this is the pit, and this is the slab protection for the protection, and for the fitting of ceramic squatting plates. So these are the pit latrines. Then borehole latrines, they are similar to pit latrines, but instead of pit there is a bore and fitted with pipe. And first time this type of latrine were introduced by the Rockefeller Foundation during the campaign against the hookworm in 1930. It consists of a hole of 30 to 40 centimeter diameter dug vertically 4 to 8 meter, commonly 6 meter depth. A concrete or ceramic squatting plate with central hole and footrest must be fitted on the hole. And then suitable enclosure must be provided for the privacy. So this is the borehole latrine. But it should be remembered that these are the methods which are used in scattered or temporary camped populations and in troop movements and festivals. Then merits and demerits of borehole and pit latrine. Merits suitable for mobile scattered population, troop movement camps and local festivals, and these are non-service type. The demerits, small capacity, can contaminate the water sources if located in the vicinity of water source, not suitable for permanent settled population. So let's move to the next, the permanent methods of human waste disposal. These include these are suitable for the populations like settled and clustered population, towns and societies, urban and rural dwellings. The sanitation system consists of a flush system connected to septic tank, and flush system connected to water carriage system directly, flush system connected to septic tank and then connected to water carriage system. These three types of arrangement all are used in the settled areas. Flush system connected to septic tank consists of a household sanitary fitting that consists of a water closet, water seal and flush cistern, and then there is a drainage pipe. Then this drainage pipe is connected to septic tank. Septic tank connected to household drainage system, whatever it is, or septic tank connected to the sewage system. This is the diagram of septic tank. The septic tank consists of mainly three parts. One is the scum, that is the upper surface of the water where the disposed matter is floating. Then is the liquid layer and there is a water level, and then below that is the sludge. So sludge, the liquid layer and scum, these are three important layers, and there is a semi-biological treatment of waste material in the septic tank. That is why there is a natural oxidation of waste material. So the septic tank is one of the way of semi-biological treatment, not the complete biological treatment, but semi-biological treatment is possible in septic tank. The floating scum layer consists of soap, grease, toilet papers, etc. The liquid layer of water liquid and the suspended solids. The sludge is the heavy organic and inorganic material at the bottom of the tank. Then naturally occurring bacteria in the sewage begins to break down organic material in the tank. The organic material will undergo aerobic and anaerobic decomposition, but the matter is not completely oxidized to harmless material. So this is the typical composition of the septic tank. Now the water carriage system. The water carriage system is a network of underground pipes called sewers from residential and commercial area to the places ultimately where they are disposed. It serves both collection and transport functions. A combined system sewage plus rain and separate system where the surface water is not admitted to combine with the sewage water. So both arrangement depending upon the municipality capacities and feasibility they are used, but it serves both for collection and transport, the water carriage system. Here it is a typical diagram of showing these are the household dwellings, and the household pipes, they are connecting to the main pipes, and then this drainage system goes to the primary treatment where the biological treatment is being carried out. So this is the area where the sewage system is located, and this is the area where the biological treatment plant of water is working. So the water carriage system, this is the schematic diagram of the water carriage system. The parts of the water carriage system include household sanitary fittings, that includes the water closets, water seal and flush cistern. Then there is a house drain of 10 centimeter in diameter, house sewers and public sewer. It is having large diameter up to 22.5 centimeter in diameter, and then main holes and traps. So these are the parts of the water carriage system. Now the advantages and disadvantages of the water carriage system. The advantage system is able to serve large population, permanent and durable. Disadvantage, it needs permanent and uninterrupted water supply, needs biological treatment of wastewater, and water waste if not conserved. Water is wasted if it is not conserved or recycled. So these are the disadvantage of this system. The sanitation responsibilities and the stakeholders, the community as a consumer is responsible for the sanitary disposal of excreta for the quality of life and lifestyles, healthy lifestyles. Then community-based organizations, community activists, they are also responsible for the aesthetic purpose and for prevention of diseases in the community. Then government is a big stakeholders, the government department which are engaged in sanitation are the public health engineering department, health authorities, environmental protection agencies, legislation and enforcing agencies. They are responsible for and they are the stakeholders responsible for assistance in sanitation. International organization and health and environmental agencies, they are also responsible for the environmental safety and sanitation. They are playing their role for technical assistance and support to the countries, member states and countries. Then hierarchical approach. What public health physician, how can approach to improvement of sanitation? The public health action and engagements include three levels, hierarchical levels. First is the strategic level, then operational level and community level. At strategic level, the impact assessment of unsanitary conditions and the health impacts of sanitary condition, and he shares with the strategic level stakeholders and then advocate them for resources allocation for sanitation systems to improve the sanitation system. So this is the strategic level. Then at operational level, advocacy is also required at administrative level, and where the technical and the public health physician can also provide technical assistance, and sanitation program can be implemented at this level. Community level is very important. Here the awareness can be generated, the health education and health promotion program can be arranged, and the community is motivated and mobilized. Community mobilization is that provide the ownership. What could be the results of these hierarchical level interventions at strategic level? If the strategic level is convinced, then the planning for sanitation program is there, and resources allocation and target setting is there. This will be the achievement of and if on the operational level, management of physical and human resources and implementation of program, execution and monitoring of the program. So this achievement will again then at community level, the benefits, the community awareness, ownership to the programs, community-based organization activation and community actions. This all will lead to improvement in sanitation. So this is the hierarchical approach for and the implementation of sanitation program to improve the sanitation and to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Then behavioral model for sanitation for the consumer level and the strategic level. This is a model where health promotion, health protection, and health prevention model can be used. And in health promotion, there are informed choices, and the health education and health promotion approach is adopted, and the predisposing factors and enabling factors through assistance and reinforcing factors, they are addressed through the health promotion approach. In health protection, the legislation implementation, sanitation laws, setting standards for the sewage and sanitation, and then implementation and monitoring. On preventive side, the healthcare accessibility to healthcare is important for vaccination of communicable diseases, nutritional counseling, and provision of healthcare services. This is the preventive model for the issues related to the sanitation. So, in conclusion, Pakistan was off track in achieving the Millennium Development Goal target for the sanitation. Overall, there is a gap of 15% in rural area and 22% um, to achieve universal access to improve method of sanitation. Public health action, advocacy at strategic level, and development and implementation of improved sanitation program is required. The community mobilization and ownership will improve the sanitation methods and achievement of sanitation targets and goals. So this is the conclusion of this session, and thank you very much for sparing your time.